Hey everybody, how are we doing? Realize I'm like 30 seconds late, but let's make sure you can hear me and see me. You've got my screen. We good? Everybody ready to go on the 10th of February, 2017. It's 2:10 and we're at 10 p.m. Alright, Pause can hear and see me just fine. That's good to know. Hey, Pause, I think you're going to be in for a treat. In a week or two, I'm going to try to have set up a soundboard for Beam. So you'll be able to click little buttons and make sounds play on the stream. So that'll be fun once I get that set up. Alright, so how's everybody doing today? Today, I was thinking we were going to start doing our API. So we've been building a site over the past few weeks. There's some people coming in this week that may not have been here the last few weeks. There's a pretty awesome subreddit that's called Learn Programming, and if you're part of Learn Programming, there is a Discord chat that you can hang out in. So I posted to them, so some of them are probably going to be coming in today. They may not have been around, so let's talk about what we've been doing. So what we've been doing is a Django web app that allows you to track how you're feeling. So this can be minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day, however often you want to record these things. And once you get it recorded, we're tracking this stuff on like a. Sorry, I think I'm signed out. We're tracking this on like your dashboard, and you get like a little chart thing going on, right? So we don't have all the chart stuff working. We're not worried too much about that. We'll worry about that later. But we've got this built up, and we've got this thing where you can join companies or you can join families. You can invite people. We send emails. We've done a bunch of Django stuff. So the plan is to take this Django site, this not static, but this somewhat boring, basic website. We're going to build an API, and then using that API, we're going to build like a React or single-page web app kind of website for it. And then we're going to build, or maybe before then, I don't know, maybe I get tired of writing HTML. We're going to build like an Android app or iOS app or Windows app, something. We're going to build some other app that uses the API. So, this is obviously going to take several weeks. We probably won't even finish the API this week, but we'll find out, right? We're going to do some stuff. So, everybody should be caught up, and the project is open sourced. So, you can go to github.com/treehouse/livestream-Django-feelings. You can clone it, you can fork it, you can star it, you can watch it, you can, do whatever. And you can submit pull requests, and you can submit issues and all that kind of stuff too, if you want to help out. We've had a total of 1 pull request, so I'd love to have more if y'all want to send pull requests in. So, yeah. All right. So let me close this issue that is done, and let's start looking at and talking about an API. So our API has to basically do all the stuff that our website does, right? We have to be able to see all of the sorry, my thing just feels like it's not. Chat feels like it's not working. We have to be able to see all of the. We have to be able to see all of the feelings that have been logged. We have to be able to log new feelings. We have to be able to sign up and log in. We have to be able to create families and all that kind of stuff, right? We kind of want to be able to do all of this stuff through the API. But let's start with just the absolute basics. Let's start with like logging in, and let's start with logging in, and let's start with logging a feeling. All right, and actually, I suppose we want to start with, you know, getting the API installed. All right, so let's get all those things closed, and we need to add the Django REST framework to our list of packages. That's not what you do. You install Django REST framework, all one word. There we go. Install that package. So, how's everybody doing this morning? Everybody feeling all right? All right, so that's got Django REST framework, and I want to add this to our requirements. So it's 3.5.4. Django REST framework 3.5.4. All right, so got that saved, and that way we know it's available. And we don't care about Markdown. We're not using Markdown anywhere. And I'm not going to worry about Django filter just now. Oh, pause. You've been doing the 15-minute series, or 15-minute challenge. That's cool. What have you been learning with the 15 minutes? I've been trying to do it, but I've been very hit and miss on doing it, sadly. It's a great idea, but it's just it doesn't fit into all of my days perfectly well, which is just very... It's disappointing that I can't do it reliably every single day, but it's probably one of those things that I could do if I took a little bit of extra time, but y'all know how that is. There's some days where you just don't have that extra time, or you can't make that extra time. Okay, so what we've done is we've added REST framework to our installed apps, and over here in URLs we've added a URL here for API auth, and that will let us authenticate and everything like that, right? So we'll have the login and logout URLs. All right, so a little bit more here that we have to do to start, but yeah, so working on extra credit for the Python Basics and Python Collections courses, using Vim with Dvorak keyboard to keep it interesting. Did I notice it has BMW on the bottom row? It does have BMW, doesn't it? That's kind of interesting. Dylan, go for it. Codecademy is fine. They do good stuff. All right, so what I'm looking for now is API auth. Login. Alright, yeah, and that doesn't do anything just yet. Okay, so, cool. What is the font of your PyCharm editor? This is Hack, I do believe. We can look real quick. Editor, colors and fonts, font. Yeah, it's Hack, and it falls back to Fira code or Fira code, Fira, whatever. Hack is an open source font from Typeforge, something like that. And Fira is a open source font from Mozilla. So they're both pretty cool. They're both nice. All right, so simple model-backed API, read-write, that's what we want. Any global settings are in this REST framework dictionary, so let's hop back over here to settings. Go to the bottom, and let's make our REST framework dictionary. And default permission classes. And then this is our list of how we check permissions. So REST framework dot permissions dot Django model permissions or a non-read only. All right, that's a really long class name. So what this permission does is it makes it to where if you want to modify a resource, you have to have permission to modify that resource through the admin, or through Django's permission system, or you're marked as being read-only if you are anonymous. So that's cool. That's fine. That's a good safe default. We'll probably want to tweak that as we go on, because we probably want to make it to where, you know, you can only read the ones that you own and stuff like that, but we'll get there. All right, so let's see if I can make my spacing here just a little better, so I don't have to keep hopping back and forth between those two things. Okay, so we don't want to make our serializer in there. Let's do our serializer over here in users. Let's make a new file here that we will call serializers.py. And then let's collapse that so we have a bit more room. And we want to say from REST framework import serializers. You know, let's go ahead and import all of these, and then we'll clean it up as we go on. So routers, serializers, view sets. All right, and then we're gonna want to also say from django.contrib.auth.models import user. And so now we need to make our user serializer. And this one's going to be a hyperlinked model serializer. And so what that means is it will have hyperlinks that allow us to move back and forth between like records and stuff. So it's just a way of saying this is going to be available as like in the API, the browsable API. All right, so class meta model equals user fields. Let's get username. Let's not show anything else. Let's just show username for now. Okay, so now we want to create a view set. And so view sets determine like what views are available for that thing. So create, update, delete views kind of stuff. So user view set, and this is something we'll probably want to move out into its own file here in a little bit. Query set equals user.objects.all. Serializer class equals user serializer. All right, and so now we'll make the router, and the router is used to route the URLs to different places. Okay. So router equals routers.default router, router.register users user view set. And then that's all we want to do for there. And then over here in URLs, I want to add in from users.serializers import router as user router. And then we want to do URL r, let's say API slash that, include router.urls. All right, so now let's make sure this is running. Make sure this will run, actually. Router, oh yeah, because that's user router. Cool. All right, and then let's come over here to API/users. Check it out. Now we have a list of our users, right? Here's a list. And we have one user here, which is username Kenneth Love, and we have one user here that is username test user. So that's pretty cool. That didn't take us very long, and we got users. Now, we probably don't want to be able to browse users, right? Because, well, it's just not a great idea to be able to browse all the users. So let's figure out a couple of other things that we want to do here. Group view sets. So let's just add the authentication and permissions. That's what we want to do. I don't care about that stuff. Okay, API guide. That's what I want. Permissions. Permissions, object level permissioning. Object level permissions used to determine when get object is called. Okay, so we can return, or we can define self.check object permissions. Okay, cool. So let's see about building a serializer for our thoughts model. Excuse me. So new file, serializers.py. Yep, add that in. Let's come over here to this, and let's paste that in. We don't need the user, but we need from .import models. And so let's make a thought serializer. Which will be a hyperlinked model serializer. Class meta model equals models.thought fields equals, and you know what? I don't remember what our fields were. So let's see. We have a user, we have a recorded at, we have a condition, and a notes. Okay, so let's hold on to, what do we want? We want to show recorded at, but that's a read-only field. Let's just pull out condition and notes for now. Actually, no, let's grab recorded at. Condition and notes. Not Nates, notes. Did you know that we have two people that work at Treehouse? They both work in sysops, and they're both named Nathan. It's kind of funny. We have two Nates. Okay, so there's our serializer. So that's enough to handle our actual serializer, right? So, I now want to have the view set, but I don't necessarily want to do the view set inside the serializers.py. I'm thinking I want to do the view set. Let's just make another new file for that. So, viewsets.py. And let's come back over here and plop all of that in. Okay, so we don't need routers, and we don't need serializers. We will need models, and we will need to import serializers. Alright, so now, so our query set, models.thought.objects.all, serializers.thoughtSerializer. Alright, so let's see what all's going on in chat. we got a bunch of people in India making some connections. That's cool. Hey Mohan, glad to have you here watching live for the first time. Hello Mohammed, how are you doing? Hey everybody else, let's just cover everybody. Say hi to everyone. Okay, so that looks like that. So that's good. Okay, so now in our view set. Okay, so let's see. I don't want to write my own views. I want to cover those things. So let's open up a couple other things here real quick. Let's pull up in view sets to see. Okay, view set gives me all of that kind of stuff. I want to make it so that the view set, model view set. There's what I want. I want to override get query set, and I want to return self.request.user.thoughts.all. So that means I don't need that. Okay. Which also means I don't need models. Okay. My editor is not clearly visible in mobile view. I'm not sure what I can do about that since, you know, we need browser and editor both open. I mean, I can move the browser off, but then you'll just have to trust that I'm reading docs and not that I'm magical and knowing all these things. So, yeah. Okay, so thought view set is our view set. We've got our query set there. Okay, so now I need to make another new file, which I'm going to call router or routers. Yeah, we'll stick with routers because that's, you know, in keeping with all the rest of these things. And let's go back over here, grab all of that, paste it into here, and then come back and finally get rid of these things that we don't need. And all of that. Cool. All right, so then in here, we can get rid of all the rest of that stuff. We can get rid of all of that. And we can say from dot import view sets. Router equals default router, router.register thoughts as view sets dot thought view set. All right. So now this part's a little weird for me. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a thing up here where I'm just going to call it like API URL patterns. And I'm going to do URL include user router.urls. And then I'm also going to do from thoughts.routers and from thoughts import routers as thought routers. And then we'll do URL r blah blah include thought routers dot router dot URLs. And that's really ugly, but I don't necessarily have a better way of doing that. And then inside here, I'll do API URL patterns. All right, so I should still have this working. No. Base name argument not specified and could not automatically determine the name from the view set as it doesn't have a .query set attribute. So that's over here. What's this base name thing? Note, however, on the removal of the query set property from your view set, any associated router will be unable to derive the base name of your model automatically, and so you'll have to specify the base name quark as part of your router registration. Let's go look at that. Excuse me. Can you show me a base name somewhere? No? Base name, base name, base name. Where's base name? Okay. So that's with router registration. So I'm guessing that's here. Yeah, base name equals thoughts. Let's try that. And let's refresh this. Okay. And let's try this one again. Sweet, I can get users. And if I go to thoughts, there's those. And now, just to make sure that this is working the way I'm expecting it to, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to add a new thought to the test user. And we'll say, see, are any of these ecstatic? I guess the 0 is. Okay, let's add one that's kind of in the middle. Let's say like here. And this shouldn't show in the API. Cool. And let's refresh this. And that did not change at all. Cool. So we got that working. So, Primula, how you doing? You want me to say your name? So there you go. Subhasish. Sorry if I get anybody's names wrong. I'm an American, so I can't always pronounce words. We say things funny. I'm glad you're watching. Happy to have you here. Daniel, you're from Houston, huh? I went to Houston one time. It was in the summer, and it was not the best idea I ever had. Marine, my shirt says I code like a girl. So I designed this shirt for Django Girls when we did a few Django Girls events. I need to do another run of these online. People enjoyed ordering them last time. Okay, so we now have it to where I can get a thought. But let's make sure that I can let's make sure that I can submit one, right? Because that would be a great idea. This is the one that I submitted today. If I inspect this, I'll see what the user's number is, right? They're number 2. Okay, cool. So let's pop over here to my good friend Postman. If you've never used Postman, Postman is really cool. Postman is a way to do API calls in a nice, very testable way. So if I hit send right here, then right now I'm not logged in, so it says, hey, you don't have any of these things. I can't send you anything, right? But if we send how would we send our auth on this? What happens if I go to API auth? /login. Then I just get this page. All right. So let's set up login, because right now, if I try to post, I won't be able to post. So, yeah, there is the auth here, pause, but you have to have set up like basic auth or digest auth for that to work. And right now, if y'all remember, our we don't have any sort of auth set up for this, right? So we're just doing this default permission classes. So let's check all this in, because we did a bunch of stuff. 2 basic API endpoints needs auth. All right, so commit that. I forget if I was able to get this to push or not. Things have been weird for me as far as GitHub and PyCharm go. Okay, that one pushes. Roger asks, how can you stand in code for more than an hour? Practice. Like so many things with coding and everything else. It's really just a matter of practice. It's not the thing that you just immediately start doing. It takes a little while to do. So it's been quite a while that I've stood and coded, or just stood and worked. I do have a chair which is kind of hanging out over there to the side, so I don't stand all the time. My desk moves up and down. So yeah. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is I want to change this default permission classes over to be, instead of Django model permissions, I want Django object permissions. And that will hopefully handle a lot of stuff for us. And hopefully that won't break anything. Let's double check this to make sure this is still working. Yeah, we're still working. Marine, what issue with Git and PyCharm am I having? Sometimes it won't push. I get like a permission denied, which is weird. It seems to be mainly on private repos. So I'm guessing that PyCharm, when it generates a token, it doesn't actually... It says that it got the permissions to handle private repos, but I'm guessing it didn't. But I don't know. Okay, so let's get back to what we were doing here, which is we were going to set up authentication. Okay, so what I really want is token authentication, because I want to do tokens, right? But that said, I wonder if we want to do JSON web tokens instead. So I don't know which one is going to be friendlier when we start wanting to do Android apps, iPhone apps, desktop apps, things like that. I don't know if JSON web tokens is going to be friendlier, or if just standard token is going to be friendlier. I'm thinking we probably want to do the JSON web token. So let's see about that. And that means we have to install yet another package, because we need this stuff and things, right? Okay, so let's go and install settings. Editor, project, there we go, project interpreter. And the package we want to install is Django REST Framework -JWT. All right, so let's install that. And this is version 1.9.0. So let's stick that into here. Django REST Framework -JWT is equal to 1.9.0. All right, and then we need to add it to settings. Okay, but it just goes into the default authentication classes. So, there we go. Default authentication classes. Now, what's cool is that Django REST Framework will let us specify multiple authentication classes, and it basically falls through them, right? So it hits the first one and goes, oh, I don't know who you are, And then it moves to the next one and goes, nope, still don't know who you are. Hits the third one and goes, oh, hey, I can authenticate you with this one, and moves on. So I'm going to go ahead and put all of these in here. So REST framework.authentication.session authentication. So that will be if you've logged in and you have a Django session that's active. So you've logged into admin or you've logged into the site or whatever. Cool, everything works. And then REST framework.authentication.basic authentication. You get really good at typing authentication as you move through this. So this is HTTP basic authentication, so sending a username and password across the internet. Not the greatest idea, but you know, whatever, it's there. REST framework jwt.authentication.json web token authentication. All right, so we're going to try sessions, see if they have logged in through Django. Then we're going to try basic auth and see if they've sent us basic auth. And then we're going to try JSON web token to see about JSON web token. Like, let's try the basic auth real quick. So we had API/thoughts. There we go. And when we get that this is failing. And we have no auth. So let's do basic auth, and we'll put in my username and password. Wow. Let's update that request, and let's send that. And now you can see we get our records, right? Hi, Paulo. How are you doing? I think you were on here a week or two ago. Welcome back. So our authentication there works, right? But I want to try doing the token. So let's see how we manage to get that token. So we need to add a little bit to our URLs. So we've got our API auth, and let's do API token auth. And this will say obtain JWT token. Which, can it?
Narrator dialog. No, but exiting narrator.
There we go. Yeah, it knows how to import that. So, cool. Not exactly where I'd like it to be, but cool. All right. So now, we can do a curl. And we have to include the token. So let's try doing a post. Where is Postman? There's Postman. All right, so let's try hitting our URL here. So we want to go to API token auth. We want no auth. We want to send a post. We want to send, here's our body. Form data will work. So we want to say username is Kenneth Love, and password is test password. And let's try sending that. Check it out, there's our token. So we've got a token back. So now we just need to save that token and hold on to that somewhere. So let's grab our token. And then if we come over here and do a get for API/thoughts, and we set a token, which is authorization, and then it should be JWT and our token. Then we can send that. Oh, we don't need the quotes. There we go. And now we still have our data. Okay, so that's going to be our way of getting all of this stuff, right? Admittedly, that token's not the prettiest thing to have to remember, but you know what? It's okay. It's not that bad. So Paolo asks, how do I do it? There's no Django. How do I create my own admin? I'm not sure what you mean by there is no Django. And to create your own admin, you just have to build the views for it. Just kind of build stuff. And Zebiex XD? I probably butchered that one. What is this thing? We are building a web app for recording how you're feeling, and then we're going to turn this web app into an API, and we're going to turn the API into a single page web app-ish, and an Android app, and stuff like that. Okay, so let's add this other URL here too, or these other URLs, rather. No, I don't care about that one. We don't need to do verification. Additional settings. I don't think there's any of those that we need to change. Not yet, at least. Oh, so that's cool. You can set it to use like your own RSA public key. Neat. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this refresh token. And the reason we want that is because we might have like tokens that need to get refreshed or whatever, right? Let's not worry about that just yet. Okay, so we have our token stuff set up. We can view a thing. So let's see about creating one. So I'm going to do a post to there. And my post body is going to have condition in it. And it's going to have notes in it. And this is probably going to complain at me. It's probably going to tell me that things are not right. But that's okay. We're going to fix that. We're going to make it to where things are right. Models, that's what I was looking for. So let's say that this is a 50 for our condition. And a this API might not work yet. Alright, that's pretty good. Send that. And we get a not null constraint on thought user ID. Okay, that's what I figured we would get. So let's come back over here to our view set. And let's handle post. Model view set. Oh, we don't want post. We want create. And let's just pass for now. Y'all can tell it's been a little while since I have played with, sorry, this music is messing with my head. It's been a little while since I've played with Django REST Framework. And it has been. So, that's fun. Okay, so it's basically using create model mixin, which was over here. Alright. The stream died. Are we back? We good, Marine? How's Beam? Pause. Any problems there? And then Karen Panwar, you asked if Treehouse offers any free learning courses. We don't have anything that's free. Everything requires you to have signed up. But, you know, I think that's okay. Where is what I'm looking for? I don't want function-based views. I'm doing view sets, and I want to customize how the create works. You know what? Let's just get in here and just see what's here. So return super dot create request args quargs. I have to spell create correctly, and let's mark that as a debug point. I don't know if this will work or not, but we'll find out. Okay, and I'm going to hit this with Postman. Signature has expired. You know what? Let's just do basic auth for now. That'll be easier to do. Okay, so we still get the not null. So instead of that, let's do import pdb, pdb.setTrace. Okay, send that. There we go. All right, so what's in here? So we've got self, args, quargs. All right, what's on self? We got all sorts of stuff. Sorry, I'm going to be ignoring chat for a little bit while I try to figure out what's going on in here. Do we have like a self.object or a self.data? You know what? Let's go. I don't know why I'm doing this such a backwards way. Let's just go look at what's going on. Right, y'all? Let's just go look. Okay, view set mixin does all that stuff. Alright, so those are all coming from mixins. Rest from import generics, mixins, views, blah, 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 blah. Okay, mixins. Create model mixin. Here we go. Create. Serializer. Self.get serializer. Data equals request.data. Serializer.isValid. Raise exception equals true. Self.perform create. So the perform create just does serializer.save. Okay, so that hasn't failed yet. And so I don't know what's going on there. Okay, so then we call that. I'm going to bet that serializer.isValid is going to screw me up. Because the serializer is going to see that as not being valid. Okay, so let's handle that. And then Lars asks, what does PDB do? So PDB is the Python debugger. And it allows you to, well, debug Python stuff. I don't necessarily have a better way of describing it than that. Basically, it allows you to throw in a like a stop point. You're like, hey, stop right here, and I want to be able to go look at stuff. We will play with it more as I go on, I'm sure, because I'm pretty positive I'm gonna need to go look at stuff. Okay, so let's go look at our serializer, and let's figure out how to make the timestamp to be read only. Excuse me. And let's see if we can figure out how to make it to where the user is automatically inserted. Okay, so serializers. Fields, we've got those things. Okay, so then read only fields equals recorded at. Okay, well that was easy. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to saving instances. Is that what I want to do? Okay. Do I just want to override create? I think I do. Okay, let's try that. Okay, so def create self validated data. Okay. So then I want to return models.thought.objects.create. But I don't have the user, I don't think. Let's do that, and let's once again do import pdb.setTrace. Okay, so what I want to do over here, I'm just going to comment all of that out. So that won't even happen. Wait, I don't want to do dir self. I want to do run server. There we go. So hopefully I'm going to end up right here, right? So let's find out. Let's hit send. Yep, cool. All right. So dir shows me what all is available, right? dir is the directory. This is everything that's currently available. So I want to do a dir on self because I basically want to see if I have any sort of request in here. And I bet I don't. But context, read only required, root, source. Okay, so I got a bunch of stuff. Let's see what's in validated data. Condition 50 notes is that. Okay. Self.source is nothing. All right. What else in here could be? Oh yeah, we had context, right? Yeah, we had like self.context. Ha! There's the request. Okay. So if I do self.context request.user, there's my user. All right, cool. So what I want to do is I want to say that thought equals models.thought made from validated data. I don't know why I called that thoughts. And I want to say thought.user equals self.context request.user. And then I want to say thought.save and return thought. All right. So now we'll stop that. We won't run that because that makes no sense. All right. Cool. So now we've got a thing. So hopefully, if I hit send on this, I get back a recorded at, I get back a condition, and a notes. And if I come back over here and do a get on this and hit send, then I've got right there is the one I just created. This API might not work yet. Right? That's today. Yeah, that looks right. Cool. Okay. So now we've got a thing to where whenever we send a thought in to the API, it automatically registers that it's the current user, right? So that's pretty cool. So we're doing all the stuff that we would normally do with our thing. So that's cool. That's neat. Yeah, Marine, PDB is a really nice tool. If you're not doing Django, PyCharm's debugger is arguably better. But if you're doing Django, PyCharm's debugger doesn't always like to do that. So it's a little nicer to just use this normal stuff. Okay, so version control. Let's check this stuff in. Auth. You know what? Let's not do that one. Let's just do that, and we'll just say JWT auth. Okay, and then we'll commit that. No. And then we'll do those, and we'll say recorded at is read only, create uses requesting user. Commit. Cool. Okay, so let's see. What else do we need to be able to do? We said sign up, right? Log in, log out we've got. Because you can send it to the JWT. We've got log in, log out. We don't have sign up. So let's make a sign up thingy, right? So that we can create users. So let's drop that. That I want to change how that works. So we'll get to that. Okay. So Niles asks, why am I using GitHub? There's nobody else on the project. I'm using GitHub so you all can be on the project. You all can contribute and make pull requests and file issues and bugs and all sorts of stuff like that. Yeah, I'm the only one working on it right now. We may have others later, who knows? But it's totally open for all of you to go and add stuff to it. So please do. All right, so I'm going to make routers.py, and I'm going to make, what was that other one? Viewsets.py. And, you know, it feels like I'm making a lot of, like, super small files. And I am. But that's kind of my point. There's not a problem with making super small files. There's nothing wrong or bad about that at all. So, don't ever feel bad that you've made a bunch of small files, because that's kind of the whole point of having importable modules and stuff. Yeah. Okay. So, there's our user view set. In our routers, let's say that we want to do from .import view sets, which means here we need to change this to view sets. And then over here, that. And then take out all of that, right? Yeah, that all looks right. Okay, so now we're going to go change this. And this is going to say from users, import routers as user routers. And then we're going to say user routers.router.urls. And I realize I could import just that router, but at some point I might find myself wanting to have more than one router. And, you know, I then have to go and change things around. So while this whole setup right here is very clunky, it's more future-proof, right? So I like that a little better. Now I want to make sure that that is still working. So I should be able to go to API/users. Oh, something died. What died? Users.routers has no attribute router. That's correct. Okay, we good now? We're good now. Okay. So, obviously there's a problem where if I go to /API/users, I shouldn't be able to have other users' name showing up, right? Like, I shouldn't be able to see test user when I'm logged in as Kenneth Love. So let's fix that. Def get query set return. You know what? Once again, I don't know if I have. Wait. We had that before, right? Serializers. That one. No, that's not the one. I did that in view sets. That's it. And I want to return self.request.user. Really, it's more than that one user? Okay. Here's a fun little trick. Return user.objects.filter ID equals self.request.user.id. And that gets me let's refresh this. That gets me just that one user. So it's a list of a single user, which is fun, I guess. Let's go ahead and add some more fields into here. Let's add first name, last name, and we have some other things available on the user. Let's go look at what those things are. And then I'm going to come back over there and see what's going on in chat, because I can see a lot of stuff going through. So, hey, the Cypher, you just started learning Python? Welcome. This might be a little bit beyond where you're at if you're just learning Python, but feel free to hang out and see what we're doing, because we've got some cool stuff going on. Official Elias, this is definitely Python. Yes. And this is part of my job. I work for a company called Treehouse. We do online training, so if you want to learn to program, you can come to teamtreehouse.com and you can start programming in whatever language. Like, we teach 7 or 8 different languages, so you can come learn all sorts of cool stuff. And I'm the Python teacher, so I do weekly live streams because I enjoy doing live streams. I like coding with all of y'all, hanging out, helping me, watching, hopefully learning stuff. The Cypher, you made you're working on a Discord bot, huh? We did a live stream on how to build a Discord bot a few months ago. If you look back through the YouTube playlist for the live streams, then you will find that, and you can start building one yourself. Alright. Cool. So, back over here. Let's look and see what's available. So we have a first name, we have a last name, we have an email address. Let's stick in email. Just because that's a thing that you might want to see on your account, right? You might want to there's a username and password. You might want to see your email address on there, just so that you can make sure that it's the right email address or whatever, right? And then I kind of like having these two as well. Let's toss those in. Last login, and I don't remember if that's called date joined or what. That's not the right way to do it. Django, blob. Yeah, I don't remember where I need to go there. Let's just go to Django. There we go. Okay, so Django, contrib, auth, models. Okay. Permission, group, user manager, permissions mix in, abstract user. We got username, first name, last name, is staff, is active, date joined. That's what it's called. Okay, cool. Date joined. And let's break these up because that line was getting awfully long. And send that again. Okay, cool. So now I can see all the information about my particular user, right? And I can also do users/1, and I get me. And if I try to go to users/2, I get a 404, right? Which is what I should get because I shouldn't be able to go look at any other users. Okay, so now let's figure out how we're going to do the, oh, and you know what we should have here too? We should have read-only fields, last login, and date joined. You can't change those, no matter how much you want to. Okay, so, Official Elias, I think HTML and JavaScript is easy. HTML's, yeah, pretty simple. JavaScript depends on what you're doing. It can be very tricky. It can also be very, very simple. So it just kind of depends. All right, so let's try and break this, because that's the most fun way to do this. So I want to try to change last login. Well, actually, let's see. I want to try to change. Let's try to change first name, and I'm going to change it over to be Ken. And I'm not going to send that one because those don't work. Okay. And that's not going to be going to 2. That's going to be going to 1. And post is not allowed. Now, why would post not be allowed on that? It's a model view set. Oh, because that would be put. And the username field is required, and I didn't send that. Okay. So that's the partial thing. So, right, there we go. The cipher, HTML is basically XML and JavaScript combined. There is absolutely no JavaScript inside of HTML. JavaScript has nothing to do with HTML. JavaScript's DOM references HTML. It refers to bits and pieces, nodes inside your HTML, but there's no JavaScript in HTML. HTML is a subset of SGML, which XML is also a subset of. Yeah. So is that fields variable a table? No. The fields variable right here is a tuple, or tuple, depending on how you want to say it. It's like a list, but it can't be modified. And then Nate Vukovic. Sorry if I completely screwed that up. Feel free to send me a pronunciation guide, and I'll happily say your name again. Asks why I'm the only one doing live coding. The other teachers, several of them want to do it. They just haven't had time yet to do it. So, and that's fine. Okay, so username should not be a field that can be written. That should bomb if you try and rewrite your username. Cool. So that let me change my username. Or sorry, not my username, my first name inside my user's account. So really only first name, last name, and email should be updatable. Everything else should be locked down, right? We don't want anything else to be there. But I do want to be able to create a new user. And right now, I'm going to bet that I can't do that. So let's send username as API user. Let's send password as test password. And let's send email as API user at example.com. And really on this one, I should have no auth. Because I shouldn't have to be logged in order to do a thing, right? And I got back an email address. And I got back a null. Did that create a new user? Let's check out our admin. Yeah, we got a user here named API user. Why did it not set? Oh, is it because username is read only? So you can't. Okay. Our serializer just got a little bit more interesting. How do we handle this? Everyone but Slovenes and Croatians. You know what? I have a friend from Slovenia. Slovenia? Yeah, Slovenia, not Slovakia. From Slovenia. So, yeah, I'd love to have a pronunciation for it, but if it's not gonna happen right now, then that's cool. Atherix RS asks, what's my favorite programming language and why? Hands down, my favorite one is Python. I like it because it's easy to write, it's easy to read, and it's easy to play with and explore. Okay, so okay, so what I want to do is I want to make a field that I can create a user, right? I can write in a username, but I can't get that username back out. Or I can't change that username with a post. So I wonder if maybe we just override the update and we strip out the username from any updates. Yeah, let's do that. That'll be easier. Okay, so that was in Serializers before, right? Yep. So let's take that out and let's do def update and saving instances. There we go. So that takes instance and validated data. And so let's just do del validated data username, except key error pass. And then return super dot update instance validated data. Okay, so what we've done now is we're cutting out our, if they send in a username key, we're going to cut it out. And if they didn't, then we're going to send stuff on through. So let's try running that again. Run. Yes. Okay. And let's hop over here. Let's delete this user. Yes, I want to delete that user. Okay, and then let's try sending that data again. Hit send. There's our username. There's our email address. And there we go. And then I'm going to assume in here that there is a password set. There is not a password set. Okay. So we need to control the def create. So I want to look back over here at my other one. That just takes validated data. Okay. So I want to say user equals user.objects.create user. And I bet I can just pass in validated data like that and then return user. So let's try that one. So delete. Okay, so there's that. And then let's come over here and hit send again. Okay, now we've got a user. No password set. All right, so I want to see what's in here. I want to see what's happening inside here. I want to see what's inside this validated data. Also, let's look up create user. So username comes in, email comes in, password comes in. That returns this one. We normalize the email. We normalize the username. Then we call set password, and then we save it, and then we return the user. That should have done that. Maybe it's leaving off the password. Can I leave off the password? Elias, this isn't a great place to be spamming your wallpaper website's URL. So glad that you have it. Enjoy having your site, but yeah, don't just spam stuff into chat. Nezhk Vukovic. I'm gonna assume that I got that one somewhat right. My friend, he came to the U.S. last year, so if you came to the U.S. last year to give a tutorial at a conference, then you'd be him. But otherwise, I have a pretty good feeling that you're not. Naveen, any good resource to learn Spring or Hibernate? We do have some Spring and I do believe Hibernate courses on Treehouse, so check them out. But yeah, so cool. Let's figure out how to get this working, because for some reason it's not. Oh, I think I can specify a hidden field. So let's I don't have to call set password Marine, because the right there, that's calling it, right? That line 147 is calling that. So let's see, where's hidden field? Or do I have password field? No, I don't have password field. Okay, but I have hidden field. That's not what I'm looking for. I don't need it to be hidden. I mean, I do need it to be hidden. I do need it not to be exposed, but I want it to take user input, right? Well, I'll tell you what, let's do this. Let's say password equals serializers.hiddenfield. And inside here, let's see what data we get when we call the save, when we do the post. First of all, though, let's go and delete this user again. Default is a required argument. Okay, there's a default. You happy now? There we go. Okay, yes, I'm sure I want to delete that user. Come back over here, hit send. Field password was declared on Serializer, user Serializer, but it's not included in the fields option. Oh, that's right, it has not. All right. Now it has been. Post. We've hit our PDB. Okay, so I am there. I want to see what's in validated data. And my password is blank. Okay, but if I did self.context request .data, then I have a password right there. Okay, so it is still in the request, but it's not in the not on anything else. Okay. I don't have self.data, do I? I do, but that's the same as validated data. Okay. Okay, so we can pull that out of the request again. That seems really wrong, though. Let's see what else is available in here. Field name, fields, get default, get extra quargs, get value. I don't think those are anything I want there. Source, update. Yeah. Okay, so I guess I'm gonna have to pull it out of the request data. So what we'll do here is we'll say validated data password equals self.context request dot data password, and then we'll call create user with that password. Okay, so now the reason that this has been working, for those of you that don't know, is that Python has a not Python. Django has a thing where if you don't set a password, it'll set like an an invalid password. Okay, so send that. We get the user. Let's refresh. There's our user. They have a password set. Awesome. Okay, so now we have a way to create users. So that's pretty cool. So we can automatically create user, and then they could log in and they could get the token, and we could save the token, and then we could use the token for all the validation stuff. Great. All right, so let's commit this stuff, and we'll just say user creation through API. I will commit and push. Yeah, Vukovic, I don't know where he lives in Slovenia. His name is Jean, and I can't remember his last name. He's a designer and developer. I think he's a musician as well. I don't remember. But yeah, awesome dude. You should look around for him, because that tiny bit of information I just gave you is gonna be plenty. I know. And yeah, the music is all done by a fellow Treehouse employee. His name is Chris Zabriskie. You can check out his music on all the streaming sites. He does amazing work. Okay, so what do we have left that we can actually get done today? We have an API for creating a feeling, for getting all of your feelings, for signing up. We don't have an API for creating companies or families. We don't have an API for joining a family or a company, or for leaving a family or a company. I'm kind of wondering, actually, I mean, I know we've already built it, and we built a lot of stuff for it, but I'm kind of wondering if we want to just not worry about the families and the companies. Because the families and companies are just kind of... they're just kind of pointless. Like, right? How do y'all feel about that? Especially, like, Pause and Marine, those of you that have been here for multiple weeks on this, how do y'all feel about the idea of... dropping the families and the companies, at least for now? Or maybe we just don't have them in the API. Maybe we leave them out of the API, and we keep the API pretty much just, you can sign up, you can sign in, and you can post your feelings and see a log of your feelings. So how do y'all feel about that idea? Because I think that's a neat idea. I think that would be, or not neat, I think that's a reasonable idea. Jaden, you want to join my course? I don't have a course on Udemy, unless Udemy stole some of my content, which I really hope they didn't. That would be bad for Udemy. I'm going to guess that you meant Treehouse, though. Yeah, money issues are a thing. Hopefully you can manage to get in. But if not, I'm doing this every week. You can come join the live streams. And once we finish building this stuff, then we're going to we'll go back to doing just other random Python things. So you can learn other stuff. All right, so let's see what's going on here. I got the dashboard. I'm not gonna worry about the dashboard. I can record stuff. I don't need all these things open. Oh no, Lars, your vote totally counts. You drop it for the API too. Yeah, I think like, while I think the family and the company thing is pretty cool and pretty handy, I think it's also a thing that we could leave out for a while, and it wouldn't be any big deal, right? It wouldn't break anything or anything like that. So I'm thinking we just do that. I'm thinking we just leave that out. So I do know one other thing that we need to add though. So, and this is a thing y'all might not have seen before. And now I've forgotten what it is that I want to do, because that's cool. Let's go look at the Serializer Fields. That's what I want. I need a field that is, do I need a model field? No. I need a relationship field. That's what I want. I want serializer relations. That's the field I want. Okay. So let's go look over here at the hyperlinked related field. Yeah, okay. So we're here on the user, right? So let's add one here, which is thoughts. And this is going to be serializers.hyperlinked related field. And a user might have many thoughts, right? And read only would be true, because we don't want them to write this through here. And view name would be thoughts-list. And then let's add that into here as thoughts, which I apparently can't spell. Okay, so cool. And now let's go over here. API users. Can resolve URL. I don't want validators. Why am I even looking at validators? I want that one. No, that's not what I want. I want reverse relations. Here we go. Okay. So let's call this feelings. And actually, let's take this off. Let's see if just having thoughts on there does enough. I think it will, but let's double check. Nope. Did it? Maybe it didn't refresh. Nope. Okay. What do we got here? Let's see. Marine says drop it as well, so that's cool. Okay. So what I want to do, let's change that to feelings. Feelings. Read only equals true. View name. Let's see if we can find a view name that doesn't exist. So let's just do thoughts.foo. Oh, let's copy that out. And you know what? This is going to complain too. I think that should actually be there. Okay. That. Detail not found. There we go. Okay. So I want to find thoughts-list. That's the name I want. All right. So that was view name equals thoughts-list. And then let's bring that line back in. That doesn't work. Yeah, it was included in the fields option. It's right there. User has no attribute feelings. That's true. They have an attribute called thoughts. Let's see if that'll work. May have failed to include the related model in your API or incorrectly configured the lookup field attribute on this field. Alright, that's not what I want. That's not what I want either. Okay, let's try this. I think this is my problem. I think I want it to be that. There we go. Okay, cool. So, you can see right here we have all of these thoughts here listed. All right, so then I can click on that one, and I can see the thought. There we go. Okay, so now let's go over here to the thought serializer, and let's add a user. And now if I click on that user, it takes me back to that user. So this way you get a browsable API. You get an API that you can move back and forth through. And while that may not be like the most important thing ever, it is a pretty handy thing. And actually, I want to add something else to the thought serializer here, which is a condition display. Serializer fields. I want to add a char field. So condition. But I think I actually need this to be a model field. That's tied to an individual model. That's not what I want. Char field. There we go. Serializer method field. Okay, and then we define a method down here, which is get condition display, and that takes self and object, and we return obj dot get condition display. And in here we add condition display. Take that out. And now if we refresh one of these pages, oh, it's totally included in there. Stop telling me it's not. Don't lie to me, Django. There we go. So now we can see that our condition that we recorded was 26, and our condition display is tired. So that way we've got this nice, like, thing there. All right, cool. So let's do a commit, and then I'm going to start taking questions. I may have to wrap up a tiny bit early today. We have a school thing going on here real quick. So I got to be able to get to that. So relation URLs and condition display field. And I forgot to push that. Cool. All right. So any questions that y'all have? And it can be about, it doesn't have to be about this particular project, like this bit of Django or whatever. So just whatever Python questions, Django questions, programming questions, questions about my mug, whatever. And yeah, pause, we got quite a bit done today. I was a little worried up until, I don't know, 10:30 that there wouldn't be much done on the API today, that the API would be kind of this long drawn out thing, and we wouldn't have a lot done, partly because I haven't played with Django REST framework in months, if not years. So it's nice being able to see this stuff actually work. And hopefully starting next week, we will start building the React site. I do want to have at least some week where we do deployment, because we need to get this up onto a website somewhere so that we can start playing with it, right? So we'll deploy this onto AWS or Heroku or DigitalOcean or something like that, probably Heroku, and then we can start messing with it as an actual website. So, yeah. What questions does everybody have? Questions, concerns, comments, anything like that, let me know. And I'm trying to think if there's something else that we want to do at the moment. And I don't know that there is, actually. Oh yeah, there's this down here too. I don't know if y'all noticed this, but this was pretty cool. We can do, we get this form down at the bottom where we can specify stuff. And one thing that I want to change is I shouldn't be able to do this user here. Marine says, are you a fan of pulling project templates and static folders, something like a core app? If so, may PR that change? No, not really. There's not a reason to do that, Marine, because Django is built to have this, like, root assets folder and this root templates folder. Like, it's meant to do that. So I don't see a point in changing that. I saw one just scroll off here. Mohammed asks, can you name some resources I can use to learn about sending SMS through Django? Yeah, so, what was that? Django send SMS. I saw one just the other day. I mean, obviously you can use like Twilio or something like that. But yeah, here you go. So like DJ Twilio SMS, that was updated not too long ago, and it's stable. It's the only one that's actually listed as stable, so that's probably the one I would use. DJ Twilio, that's an amazing name there. Yeah, so that looks pretty simple. So it's going to use the Twilio service. You're going to have to pay for Twilio if you hit their message cap. They allow you to send a certain number of messages for free every month, I do believe. So how much that'll cost is going to depend on your usage. And you can also do, looks like there's a dry mode here for just testing. So that's cool. That's probably what I would use to send SMS messages. And who knows, maybe SMS becomes part of this project, actually. I could see us having a thing where we want to send SMS messages to users to remind them to come back and post how they felt today, right? Lars asks, have you used any PDF generator on Python? Any tips on that? Oh boy, are you in for a fun treat there. So there is a package called WK-HTML to PDF. Sorry, it's TO PDF, not the letter 2 or the number 2. And so this is a command line tool that will turn a rendered WebKit page into a PDF. And it works well. It's not the most amazing thing ever, but it works pretty well. And there is a Python like library for it, so you can install this WK-HTML to PDF library, and it will use WK-HTML to PDF in the background to take whatever HTML output you want, throw that into a headless WebKit, render the web page, and then turn that rendered web page into a PDF. And now you have a PDF. So there you go. That's how to do the PDF generator. Now there are some other options. You could probably use like LaTeX, and you could probably use Pandoc as well if you wanted to. But I'm assuming you're having a web page that you want to turn into a PDF. Vugovic asks, why do I only do live on Fridays? Because Monday through Thursday I'm working on content. I'm working on creating courses and code challenges and quizzes and all that kind of stuff. So I'm very busy on those days, and I'm doing things that shouldn't be publicly broadcast because they're things that we charge people for. So, yeah. Yeah. Alright, so let's see. Dark Deb and Cypher are talking about Scratch and stuff and other things. Wheezy Print. I have not seen Wheezy Print. What is Wheezy Print? Converts HTML or CSS documents to PDF. No, I've not seen this. This, as far as I know, let's see how long this has been around. Year ago, 5 years ago, this would have been around. Oh man, I should have used that. Actually, no, it wouldn't have been. Yeah, so the last time I had to do the PDF, HTML to PDF thing, there wasn't really anything other than WK-HTML to PDF. And WK-HTML to PDF is horrible until you get it figured out, and then like it's fine because you never have to mess with it again. So, so yeah. But no, I've not used Wheezy Print, and if I need to do a PDF conversion thing again, this is probably what I'll try, because that looks a lot nicer. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I didn't know about that. Thank you for telling me about that one. Oh, sorry. Yes, Dark Dev. You're also talking about C#. It's not just Scratch. I'm browsing. I barely get time to read your stuff, so we're going to start... I don't know that we're going to do C#. So, Dark Dev, maybe you can answer this question. I want to make... so, like, if you pull up your start menu, right? You've got these little live tiles. Is it possible to make a live tile that ties into an external API that posts data? Not just pull, but posts. I wanna know something like that. Rayan says, if I want to build something like Twitter or Facebook, what programming language should I know? Any of them. It literally doesn't matter. Twitter is built on Ruby, Java, Scala, Erlang, Python, all sorts of languages. Facebook is built on PHP, Python, C#, literally all kinds of languages. There's no such thing as the best programming language, and there's no such thing as like a programming language that's perfect for any particular task, because they all have strengths and weaknesses in every task, right? So, yeah. So Lars says, I've done it with PDF, DOM PDF, and it was a huge mess. So same experience you had with WK-HTML to PDF. Yeah, WK-HTML to PDF, it works. It works fine. It's just not amazing. I would probably, honestly, I'd probably try out Pandoc, or something like PyPandoc next time, instead of WK-HTML to PDF, just because Pandoc A gives you much more options for the other things that you want to do. You can output all kinds of files, and also I have a feeling it would just be easier for going straight to PDF. But I don't know. I could be wrong. Pandoc might not actually be easier. So we'll find out. And yeah, I'd love to know how Weasley Prank goes for you. So yeah, assembly was the first coding language to exist. No, pretty sure not. I'm pretty sure the first programming language would have been... I mean, Babbage kind of had one on, like, punch cards, right? First programming language... I mean... People wrote hand-tuned assembly, but that's not really a programming language. You're just writing assembly. I mean, yeah, shortcode is pretty early on. Autocode was super early on, and you had COBOL and Fortran, like, way early. Yeah. So Marine says, Facebook dev told me Facebook is Python on backend, PHP on front end. The Python on backend doesn't look like a Python. They do use a huge amount of Python at Facebook. I've actually taught Python to Facebook, or I taught Django at Facebook, rather. And they use a huge amount of Python there. Even more so once they bought Instagram, right? Yeah, there's a ton of Python at Facebook. They do use a lot of PHP as well, and they also have what is it called, Hip Hop, which is their own PHP compiler that basically takes PHP and makes it much more performant. And they use that for the front end exclusively, I do believe. I'm pretty sure Hip Hop compiled PHP is the only thing they use on the front. But yeah, they use a ton of Python on the back end. They use a ton of Django on the back end, especially for routing, getting information from here to there. They do a lot of that in Django. So yeah, Facebook's a pretty cool place. They do a lot of neat stuff. I wish they had better like privacy policies and stuff. Like, they're a really scuzzy institution, but they're a really neat company. So I'm conflicted on them. So, yeah. Anywho, we won't go too far into that. All right, so let's see. Is there anything else that we need to do in our last 5 or 6 minutes here? The Cypher says, what would you prefer, YAML or XML? literally anything but XML. JSON, I'm cooling toward. JSON is really nice if you don't have to write it and you don't need anything interesting in it, right? If you're literally just sending strings and ints and floats, JSON is fine. As soon as you start sending things that need some sort of metadata to them, YAML is hands down better. YAML is amazing at that point. We did a thing on the live stream, I think y'all remember, a while back, where we were sending documents and we had to use YAML because we had like a pre-header kind of thing, right? So, yeah, definitely YAML on that kind of stuff. Eugene asks, what should I learn, Python, Django, or HTML5 and CSS3? You're gonna need HTML5 and CSS3 once you get into Django. So learn them all. I mean, web development is everywhere, right? So what's kind of funny though is you talk about like HTML5 and CSS3. Those aren't really things anymore though. It's just HTML and CSS, right? Like you don't. The specifiers don't really matter. So learn solid web development. Learn HTML, learn CSS, learn JavaScript, learn some form of framework and its associated language, right? Learn Spring and Java. Learn Rails and Ruby. Learn Node and whatever the current flavor of web framework is for Node. And then you're good. Ryan says, there's a lot of professional programmers around the world, so why don't they build websites projects as business instead of finding a job and doing client work? Because building a website as a business is a lot more dangerous than having a job and doing client work. I was an independent contractor for years. I did client work. I had different ideas for things I could make money with as a site or a thing. Those never went anywhere. They never earned me any money at all. Not that they got far enough to earn a lot of money, but nothing. But doing work for a client or doing work for a company now, as I do with Treehouse, that pays the bills. That feeds me and my family and keeps a house, over our heads and everything like that. So, yeah. There's a really good reason for having a job. And let's see, Dark Dev says, all you need in programming is to know a couple of programming languages in order to get a job and succeed. It's not necessary to learn like 15 languages because you're never going to use them. That is 100% true. You're way better off to have 3 or 4 languages that you're comfortable with, one language that you know really well, than you are to have 15, 20 languages that you've done Hello World in. Pick one language that you really like, and then pick a couple languages around it that do whatever the thing is you want to do, right? If you want to make video games, learn C++ or C#, then go learn Unreal Engine or Unity, and then learn whatever other little things are around, right? Maybe you need to learn Maya to make some models, or you need to learn some graphics program to make sprites. Maybe you learn Python to do some scripting in Maya. And that's it. Stop. Don't do anything else, because you're good. You got enough, right? You can go make games. If you want to build websites, like I said before, go learn Ruby, go learn Rails, go learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and stop. You're good. You know enough, right? Maybe you learn how to build servers. Maybe you learn how to administrate databases. But, you don't have to learn every little thing. Okay. I think this is going to be my last couple of things here. Let's see. We've got, hi, I'm new to coding, made a few websites with HTML, CSS, but now I want to move to a real coding language. Should I start with JavaScript or Rails? Well, Rails isn't a language. Rails is a framework. So don't start there. Learn Ruby first before you learn Rails. JavaScript is good, though. JavaScript and Node can go a long way. And if you already know HTML and CSS, JavaScript is probably a little bit more comfortable than Ruby and Rails would be. So I'd probably say give JavaScript and Node a try. JavaScript is not going anywhere. It is slowly taking over everything. So, yeah, I mean, like, RX Python, and we've got like reactive Python stuff, right? So we can do JavaScripty, .NET-y, Python-y stuff all together there, and it's so scary. Okay, so anyway, it is 11:57 by my little clock right down there at the bottom. I am going to have to get out of here. But I want to thank you all for coming. It's great having so many people in chat hanging out, helping me with stuff today. So I will be back next week. Next Friday, we will start. Next week, we'll either do deployment or we'll do the beginning of the React website. And I have to warn you all, I'm going to be so bad at the React website. Just so bad. I'm gonna hopefully have time this week to brush up on React. I've done 2 React tutorials, I think. So we'll see how I do there. But yeah, so next week we're gonna get stuff. We're probably gonna start the deployment. We may do all the deployment. We'll find out. And we'll probably start the React site. So yeah, wish me luck on learning enough React to even start that and not make a complete fool of myself. And I will see you all next week. Have a wonderful weekend.